All right, welcome everybody. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. We love that you're here. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell for more videos on technology talk. So today we are going to talk, we're actually not going to talk about it. We're going to do a real life law firm team meeting. And Beth is going to start us off with the rules of a team meeting.
Okay, so our rules today. So I'm going to go over this because we're not quite strictly adhering to this because we're showing you a whole bunch of stuff. But our rules and our terms of engagement for our team meeting is that everybody is on time. Everybody comes prepared with their numbers, and we stick to our schedule, and we go through there and time everything out. So normally we would have a timer. Just going to tell you guys those little task timers that you roll to the right time and put them up the right way. And I didn't grab mine. They are awesome for meetings because they have times like if you get one that has 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can just roll it to the right time and it'll automatically time for you. They're great for meetings. Awesome tip there for you. And there we go. And I think we're ready to go. John, I think you're going to send everybody, are you going to put a document in the chat for people?
I am. So it also came in your email. So if you have your
Okay.
email, you can get the document, but I am going to drop it in the chat. And this is a template you can use as well to get your team meeting started if you are just unsure what to do with your team meetings. But it is what we're going to use today. So where is my, oops, come on. There we go. And let me go to my open office folder. Here we go. And then team meeting template. There you go. So if you don't have it, it is in the chat for you now. And we are going to get started. So let's say we said the meeting starts at 10:05. We are starting at 10:05. And like Beth said, most of the sections, we would have a time frame set, and then you set the timer. If the first section is 7 minutes, set the timer for 7 minutes. That's what you get. You want to respect everybody's time since you're shutting down the firm for a team meeting, that you want to make sure to keep it under control. I'm just going to give you a quick case study before I start, and that is the law firm I used to work at. We used to come in at Friday and start our team meeting at 8:30 in the morning. We would finish at noon. And so we implemented rules and we got it down to a 1 hour meeting. So if that is your issue in your firm, the timer will solve that. So here we go. The first thing we're going to start, like we always do every week, and Beth and I are going to do this just like we're in a team meeting. So we're all sitting around a conference room together doing this. So we're going to do our wins and thank yous. Beth, what are your wins and thank yous, personal or professional?
Okay, so my win is that I managed to keep my goats in their fence for 3.5 whole days. That is a
Awesome.
win. Um,
Way to
and that's a
go.
personal win. My thank you is to John because I was trying to figure some numbers and had to talk through things and was able to jump on a phone call and talk through a whole bunch of numbers and got it all figured out.
Awesome. All right. So my win, I'm doing this as a client service. So I am going to go, I'm going to break the fourth wall for a second. I'm pretending I'm a client service coordinator in the law firm. So my win, I got 23 people into the next workshop this last week. So that is huge. And then my thank you is to Beth for updating our report, some with amazing new numbers that are really going to help us focus and dial in a few more things within our law firm. All right. Awesome wins and thank yous today. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's go into our health check. How is our database doing? And how is everybody managing the database? So Let's talk about where nobody or the people that are not in follow-up and have not been moved to a follow-up step. The first one, how many are not put in a stage in the database right now?
None.
Awesome. So that means they have been moved to an appropriate step that puts them in follow-up. Well done. How many are on the intake stage, which is not a follow-up stage?
There is 4 of those.
Okay, so let's make sure to get those moved because those people were created in the future.
So sorry, this data is actually set up for later on. So yeah, my
Okay,
my
so
numbers are
we'll
a little
say these are
fuzzy.
like 4 days
Yeah.
old. Okay,
Yep.
so we're gonna get those moved. Who here
Mhm.
wants to spearhead making sure those are moved by the end of the day?
I'll get those moved by the end of the day.
Perfect. Thank you, Beth. All right. And now let's do meetings that have not been moved, but the meeting has passed. Is there any still on that step?
Nope, we are all good.
Okay,
We
so
have a
fourth
nice,
wall,
clean database.
beautiful. So I know we have Margie here. She's new to our marketing team. So Margie, is what this means is if somebody was on a consultation and they haven't been moved and the consultation was last week, it means they're not in follow-up yet. So when you join us each week, that's what this is going to show. Boom. All right. That was my way to explain it to all of you.
Uh-huh.
All right. Excellent. This looks great. So let's go on to goal attainments. And let's see how our goals are lining up.
Sorry, I'm a little
All right.
laggy. I have a
No,
little
you're
much going on here.
so Beth, you
Got
did awesome preparing this data. So if you'll just go over it with us real quick.
Sure. So in the last 7 days, we had 68 initial contacts. Our goal is 58, so we have exceeded that goal. For consultations, workshops, and engagements, we are down a little bit on those goals. But if we look at our comparison for our 30 days and to our 7 days, our initial contact, our 117% over goal is going to pull that 94% for the 30 days up. So it's going to continue. We're moving in the right direction here. On the rest of these, we're kind of moving in the wrong direction. So our focus really needs to be being able to get these consultations and workshops and engagements, get those numbers up so we can continue to meet those goals, especially engagement, because that's tied to our revenue number. That is our revenue number. So
And Beth, if we keep that 7 day at 54%, what'll that do to our 30 day?
this will fall. So this will go below 100% next week, and it will continue. So if we look at our consults down here on the bottom, not that far in the future, but here, 3 weeks back was this really high number of consultations we had in 1 week. And now we're dropping back off. So we really need to be able to pull this up and get those numbers back up in the 20s and up into the 30s for 35 consultations.
Okay, perfect. So when you look at these goals, what do you think our team should focus on um, for the most important goal to hit this week?
Most important goal would be to get more people scheduled into consultations.
Perfect. And I think we're going to talk about it, but I think we have a workshop coming up, so that should help.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody just keep a consultation mindset. When you're talking to people, the goal is get them into consultations. All right. So now let's quickly take a look at the past. So let's look at our initial contacts and how many initial contacts did we have in the past 7 days?
We had 68.
Okay. And how many were referred out after the initial contact?
There is only one.
One. Okay, good. So it looks like our marketing is doing pretty well at advertising our service. How many fell out and they just weren't interested after the first call?
There's none.
Beautiful. So client service team, you are rocking it and keeping them at least in the follow-up. Well done. All right. How many went from initial contact to workshop in the past 7 days?
52 for 76%.
You guys are rock stars. All right. And how many went to consult, directly to consult?
18 of those for 26%.
Okay. And that's fine. The workshop will always be higher. So we're looking okay there. Obviously, let's set a goal next week to get that to 78% and 28%. We can definitely do that. All right. And then let's look at the workshop real quick. So if we tell me how many families were in our last workshop.
Okay, so our last workshop would have been on the 5th. And I'm sorry, today is the 5th. That's what's scheduled for today. On the 2nd, there was 2 families in that workshop.
Okay, and how many engaged? Or I'm sorry, how many scheduled a consult?
2, so it was 100%.
That's awesome. Obviously, we need more people in the workshop, but with what was there, you nailed it. 100%. Well done. How many of workshop to consultation? What was the conversion on the last workshop? Obviously 100%.
Yep.
And what is our total workshop conversion of workshop to consult right now? Just total overall.
53%.
Awesome. And I know that we revamped our workshop, what was it, 2 weeks ago? So we should start seeing those numbers improve
Yeah.
as we implement the new script. So we're doing okay.
And
Obviously,
I
let's get
do
those numbers up.
I want to jump out for a minute and show you something. We have all of these workshops scheduled in the future, and you'll see there are initial consultations scheduled. So this is our client services doing an excellent job of booking them into a workshop and scheduling the consultation right away, so that they're already on there and part of that work is already done.
And I just want to tail off that. Is how that's done is you want to schedule into a workshop? Great. Let's get you into a workshop. I will tell you that the workshop schedule super fast after a workshop. Do you want me just to get that on the calendar for you now so you get an earlier spot? That's how you get that done. And it's a great way for budgeting. All right, let's go back into it. So our total workshop conversion, I think you said it was about 50%.
53.
So we will see that improve, I believe, as we implement the new script. So let's look at consultations last week. Or I'm sorry, last week.
Yep.
Okay, how many consults did we do last week?
A total of 19.
Perfect. And last week, consults to engaged. What is our conversion?
It is 73%.
Wow, so they're converting
74.
well.
Yep.
So let's shoot for the 75% number there next week. All right, and then so this is our past. So the last thing we're going to look at is what's called throughput. So let's look at the number of days it took from initial contact to engaged. What was it last week compared to the week what is it this month compared to last month?
So this month is 8.5 days, and last month it was at 11 days. So we are making progress getting that number down.
So we shaved 2 days off in getting people from initial call to engaged. That's awesome. And I think those automations are playing a role in that because it's very, very consistent. So, Becky, you did a great job on those automations. Let's keep those going and let's beef those up some more. This is going really well. All right. Now let's take a look at what's happening right now. So we looked at the past. Now we're going to look at now. So let's look at how many people do we have in our pipeline that have not engaged that are potential Clients, how many do we have?
306.
That is beautiful. Breaking the fourth wall. Um, a high number in your pipeline is a bonus. If your number for pipeline is down in like 2 and 3, just 2 and 3, you have nothing coming in. This keeps that steady flow. So 306 here, it means those are going to just cycle through, keep that number high, and you'll have a constant cycle of people moving in.
Morning, my law office. This is Shane speaking. How can I help you?
Oh,
Whoops. I'm going to mute Shane real quick. There we go.
okay. There we go.
All right. So a look at now. So we have 306 in the pipeline. Excellent. And Becky, you got those automations running, so they should all be in consistent follow-up. Well done. How many do we have that we need to get into a consultation or workshop?
The ones that are scheduled into a consultation or workshop is 115.
No, how many do we need to get scheduled? They're on intake follow-up.
Oh, there is a total of 191 of the 306 that are in some follow-up step.
Beautiful. All right. And then let's take a quick look at engagement agreements. So how many were signed last week?
So last week, come on, move over there. Our total, this is our retain number, which is our signed, and those are 14 that were signed last week.
Beautiful. How many do we have out for signature right now? And you can break the fourth wall on this one.
Yeah. Okay. So this is where your contracts out for signature would show. Being that this is test data, there's not actually any out there for signature. But this would show you how many you have out for signature, how many have been partially signed, meaning if you have 2 clients, maybe one of them signed them or whatever. And then this is how many would have been completed. So this is where your true data would live if it were a real law firm. Okay.
Perfect. All right. So we have 0 out for signature. I know we have a bunch that just did their consultations. So Becky, if you can actually get those automations set up too to make sure they're being followed up with, that would be awesome. All right. And then consult follow-up to send agreement. How many are in that? How many could we send an agreement to that have done their consultation?
Okay, so there's 41 that are in consultation follow-up at the moment. And we can look at those. And this is something Molly always asks, what follow-up are they on? This is everyone who is in consultation follow-up, and this is how many follow-ups have been done with them. So all the way down through. So these numbers down here, these guys are about ready to fall off and go into the no response.
Okay. And then I would just go to Becky on that and say, can we look at getting a newsletter ready for next week for our general newsletter of these people falling out that can maybe push consultations a little more so we can get that number up as well. All right, this looks great. So now let's take a quick look into the future of what we have coming up. How many families do we have in the next workshop?
Okay, so our next workshop is going to be today, this afternoon, and there's 47 families scheduled into those.
Okay, do we have any consults booked for that already?
Yeah, 20.
Oh my gosh, we almost have a 50%. Amazing. Okay, and how many families do we have in all upcoming workshops right now so we can look into the future?
Okay, so all of your upcoming workshops, your total scheduled is 196.
Wow, okay. And then so 196, and how many upcoming workshops do we have? Sorry, I should have asked you that first.
Yeah. We have 7.
And they're all this
they are
month.
all this month. Yes, they are.
So we have 196 people this month in our workshops.
Yep.
Yeah, we should definitely see our consultation numbers improve. Okay, so let's take a look at our consultations. Upcoming,
Okay.
look at this week's consultations, this coming up week's consultations.
The next 7 days, we have 60 people in workshops. We have 2 straight to consultations and 23 after workshops.
Awesome. Okay.
And
That's total future, or is that in the next 7 days?
this is the next 7 days. And then we have, this is our total future, 196 in workshop, 13 in consultations, and 63 in our consultations after workshops.
So we have 196 in workshops, which are all potential consultations, minus the 20 or so that are already scheduled. And then we have just a little under 80 already on the books. So this is good. Keep it up, keep pushing the consultations. Workshop is always going to be your best route for consultations. All right. So we talked about families in all upcoming workshops. And when I say families, breaking the fourth wall, that is what I would consider one engagement agreement. It could be a couple, it could be whatever would be one engagement agreement. We wouldn't track this part by attendees. The attendees would be tracked just for how many seats you need to set and whatnot. This is just how many engagement agreements are potential. And then we did the number of upcoming workshops. We talked about this week's consultations and all upcoming consultations. So let's take a look at marketing. So how many initial contacts came from referrals in the last week?
13.
Excellent. And it looks like, oh, look at Mark Jones. We just took him out to lunch 2 weeks ago. So that was awesome, RMS team. That's really paying off. Good job. And let's do initial contacts from retail marketing. This is non-referrals.
So this is everything but referrals.
Oops. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Yeah.
So we had 61.
Great. And we just started our RMS team last month, and we already have 13 in the last week. I think we're going to see the referrals bypass our retail marketing. Well done. All right. Now let's do our conversion championship and see who wins for best conversions this week. Breaking the fourth wall. Tweak this how you want, eliminate it, whatever you want to do with it. We just put this in here. It's awesome at team meetings to have morale boosters and encouragement to really hit goals. All right, so we're back. So let's do our conversion championship. What is the overall attorney conversion from consult to engaged? Overall.
The overall so far for this month is 72%.
Perfect. And which attorney had the best conversion from consult to engaged this month?
So we're looking at Mr. Santos has 100%, and also Miss Houston has 100%. So there's a
We have
two-way tie.
2 winners. All right. Well, we're not going to do a thumb war today. You're both going to get your $5 Starbucks gift cards. Here you go. Awesome. And then let's look at our client service coordinators. What is
So
the overall total client service coordinator conversion from initial contact to workshop?
from initial contact to workshop is 80%.
Holy man. That's awesome. And then what is initial contact directly to consult?
That's 6.3%.
Okay. And that's definitely expected. Most people are going to want to attend the workshop before they schedule their consult. So which client service coordinator has the best conversion of initial contact to scheduling a consultation?
Janice Miller has 33%. She is the top.
All right, Janice, here is your $5 Starbucks gift card. And then you get to have the teddy bear with a crown sitting on your desk for the week. Good job, guys. All right, so now let's do a quick fix. So this week's fix, what is the weakest point? Let's take a look at our weakest point in our intake process to address for the week coming. So
So we're
Beth, if
just
you want to highlight a couple for us, and
Mhm.
then let's take a vote of which one we want to work on this week.
Yeah. So this is we're looking at up to so far this year, our conversion numbers. We see here is an issue where it's only a 31% conversion rate for somebody who comes straight from a consultation, not that went to a workshop first. So this conversion number, this 31%, that is pretty low. So there is one area we could focus on. The other area we could focus on is this from workshop to consultation. That is only 56%. If we can get that number up higher, that would definitely be a boost. As you see, we have, 226 that are falling out in no response after the workshop when they haven't scheduled.
So which one would you recommend? And then we'll take a vote. Which one do you think will get us the most bang for our buck to work on for this week?
I think the workshop to consultation conversion. If we can narrow some things down in the workshop, maybe to encourage more consultations, or maybe address some things in the follow-up to get them in there a little.
Okay,
sooner.
does everybody here agree? Yes, 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 yes. All right. All right. So I think, yeah, so this week, let's go ahead and choose that as our project. Everybody agrees. So I'm going to throw it out there. Let's take a look at the script of the workshop and see how we can put more language into at the end of this workshop. You're going to schedule to get your personalized time with the attorney or whatever, throw that kind of language in. And I think we have a meeting set up on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And who's going to spearhead this project? Also, how about I spearhead this and I'll gather a team together that we need. Let's meet at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. If you'll bring the script that you have when you teach the workshop, and then the people that I have come in, let's just have some ideas of what we can put into the workshop to encourage people and set an expectation that they are going to schedule. And let's get that revamped. So by the next workshop, we can implement that script and see if that number will change. So everybody write on the client service team and the speaker for the workshop, go ahead and write down 3 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll send out a calendar invite and we'll get that taken care of. All right. Let's do a lend a hand. Let's talk about who's out of the office next week. Is anybody out?
I'm out on Wednesday.
Okay. Is that the one that's on the calendar? You're out at 1 for the rest of the day?
Yep.
Okay. Do you have anything that you need to hand off during that time, or have you already taken care of that?
There may be some follow-ups that I will need to hand off to someone.
Perfect. Okay. So if you'll just take care of that and make sure that those are addressed with the person you're giving that to. And then let's talk about help. I'm buried. Is there anybody that is absolutely buried that needs a hand up to get out of that? Do you have anything, Beth?
Not really this week, but there is 3 workshops this week, and after the last workshop, we will have to have I will need some help coming up to move those all through into their next stages and get all of that stuff started. So I will need some help at the end of the week with all of that.
Okay. So Mark and Susan haven't done that before. So let's have them do it with you so they can learn how to do that. And then they can take that off you. And then that'll free up some of your time.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So Mark and Susan, if you'll put time on the calendar for next Friday after those workshops to meet with Beth and get those moved. That would be great. All right. Now we're on open forum. So now I'm just going to permanently break the fourth wall. Open forum is when you can ask questions, you can bring up obstacles, you can bring up struggles, you can bring up numbers, whatever you want. We like to keep this at about 15 minutes, although if you're timed correctly and you have time for 30 minutes, you can do 30 minutes here. It's fine. One big rule is please keep it pertinent to everybody in the room. If it is something that's specific to how something is being drafted, that needs to be taken offline and addressed with just the people involved in that. That you don't need to waste all of the people's time in the meeting to hear that. It only needs to be relevant to what the team needs to succeed together. And that's what the whole team meeting is, and that's what the open forum is. It's kind of to fire off things to each other and ask questions. So I'm going to turn this open forum into our Q&A session for the workshop.
So before we do that,
okay.
I just wanted to go and address that we did this team meeting only focusing on our intake up to engaged. When you're doing this in a firm, that's not where you stop. You still need to be looking at the rest of the stuff that's going out there. And, you know, you're drafting, how many sign meetings do we have coming up? What's the status of those signed documents? All of that stuff. And that is stuff we add into the report in some cases. You're pulling that information other places, but that is still things you need to address. You don't just shove that off to the side. Some more trial-based firms are doing different things, like, you know, they're looking at the calendar, their court calendar for the next week, what's coming up there, has all this been filed correctly? Like, they're looking at all stuff. Now, that still gets added in, that still gets reviewed. You don't scrap that for that. So I just wanted to kind of make that clear that we did an abbreviated one because we're only looking at up to engaged.
Yeah. And I do want to say, I just said if it's a drafting thing, I mean specifically like the language in this one will is weird and I need to talk to you about that. That's an offline. But when you're
Right.
firing off, we have 4 sign meetings. How is the drafting on each one of those? That is a team thing because that's going to affect the client service coordinator to confirm the sign meeting, or if they have to reschedule it, if they're going to collect payments, if the front desk person is going to print those documents, that affects everybody of where everything's at. So you're not scrambling, walking into that meeting, still printing documents that you could have it done by Friday for all of next week. So I just want to clarify the difference in there. That affects everybody, but what language in a will, that has no effect on anybody but who's drafting it and the attorney. All right,
Okay,
so I'm going
so we're
to
Q&A.
Yep, I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to go into Q&A.